Have you ever heard of the Prince of Persia? Why did an angel of God fight with him for 21 days without prevailing? How could this satanic principality be so powerful that even Archangel Michael had to come to aid God's angel? In this video, we will conduct a detailed biblical study about the Prince of Persia and answer all these questions. But before we dive into this topic, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to be alerted whenever we post a new video. We start in Daniel chapter 9, where God revealed to the prophet an overview of his plan for the complete restoration of Israel. Chapters 10 to 12 present the final vision received by Daniel, detailing God's divine plan for his people, especially during the period between the Old and New Testaments, focusing on the Medo-Persian and Greek empires. Later, Daniel is also informed about the events of the Great Tribulation, a challenging period that Israel will face with the arrival of the Antichrist. This revelation to Daniel is crucial for understanding the historical and future events related to Israel. In chapter 10, we learn about intense spiritual opposition, a powerful demon known as the Prince of Persia, who prevented a celestial messenger from delivering an essential message to Daniel for 21 days. Clearly, Satan did not want this information to reach Daniel and God's people. Let's read from Daniel 10, starting at verse 10. And behold, a hand touched me and set me trembling on my hands and knees. He said to me, O Daniel, man greatly loved, understand the words that I speak to you and stand upright, for now I have been sent to you. And as he spoke with me, I stood trembling. Then he continued, Do not fear, Daniel, for from the first day that you set your heart to understand and to humble yourself before your God, your words have been heard, and because of your words I have come. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days, and behold, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, for I was left there with the kings of Persia. Now I have come to make you understand what will happen to your people in the latter days, for the vision is for days yet to come. Dear listeners, when Daniel received the visit of this celestial messenger, he was in Babylon. In the first verse of Daniel chapter 10, it historically marks the vision in the 3rd year of Cyrus, king of Persia, around the year 536 BC. 2 years prior, Cyrus had allowed Jews who wished to return to Jerusalem to do so, and over 42,000 embarked on the return journey, as recorded in Ezra chapter 2, verse 64. Daniel, perhaps due to his advanced age, over 80 years, did not return with the other exiles, possibly due to his governmental duties. Chapter 10 begins with the description of the conflict that the new revelation provoked in Daniel. The message was true and the conflict intense. Such revelations often left him distressed and worried, as we can see. This great conflict may refer both to Satan's opposition in preventing divine communication and to the challenging events that the people of Israel would undergo, as announced in the prophecy. Yet, as we will see, Daniel managed to understand the message and gain insight into the vision. This is a reminder that even in times of greatest spiritual resistance, God continues to reveal his will and strengthen his servants. For 3 weeks, I dedicated myself to prayer and fasting, abstaining from choice foods, meat and wine, and did not anoint myself until those days were completed. This was a period of intense intercession for my people and a quest for full understanding of the word I had received. The 3 weeks ended on the 24th day of the first month, a time when the Israelites celebrated Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Interestingly, I did not participate in Passover, nor did I eat the Passover lamb, perhaps deeply impacted by the revelation I had received. It was in this context, still shaken by the vision, that God answered my prayers by sending a celestial messenger. However, he revealed that he was detained for 21 days by a demon known as the Prince of Persia. Let's revisit the scriptures. Daniel 10 verse 12 says, Then he said to me, Do not fear, Daniel, for from the first day that you set your heart to understand and to humble yourself before your God, your words have been heard, and because of your words I have come. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me for 21 days. Behold, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, for I had remained there with the kings of Persia. These words show that my prayers were heard from the first day. I was a man greatly loved by God, and my heart was truly committed to understanding and humbling myself before Him. This highlights how fervent my desire was to know and follow God's will. When a person commits in this way, there is no doubt that God will reveal Himself to them. Still, I might wonder why the celestial messenger took so long to respond to my prayers. I remember being distressed for 3 weeks, and although I did not voice this concern, the angel hurried to explain that the prince of the kingdom of Persia had confronted him for 21 days. But Michael, one of the chief princes, came to his aid. The term prince in Hebrew denotes a chief or leader of any rank or class, and this aligns with the New Testament idea that angelic beings have their hierarchies. In Colossians 1 verse 16 we read, "For by Him all things were created in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or principalities or authorities. All things were created through Him and for Him." And in Ephesians 6 verse 12, "For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the principalities, against the powers, against the world rulers of this darkness, against the spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places." This passage indicates that both faithful and fallen angels are included in these ranks. The prince, mentioned in Daniel, represents a diabolical force, an evil angel, what in the New Testament are also called demons. This episode highlights the influence that angels can have over human governments, as mentioned by the Apostle Paul in Ephesians 6. Verse 12 shows me how powerful the Prince of Persia is, who managed to delay the response to my prayer. In the midst of his journey from heaven, the angel sent by God had to cross a territory in the heavenly places, described in Ephesians 6, verse 12, inhabited by evil spirits. Michael then came to free this angel from the opposition of the Prince of Persia. This prince is a spirit of great wickedness, and it is interesting to note how today the main adversary of Israel is Iran, the ancient Persia, a nation guided by Islamic precepts under the counsel of the Ayatollahs. The demonic forces behind these events are under the command of Satan, with the mission to lead this nation, its leaders, and its people to ruin. Daniel chapter 10 reveals that often there are intense battles in the heavenly places of which we are unaware. In this case, the angel of God had to continue fighting, first with the Prince of Persia and then with the Prince of Greece. Daniel 10 verse 20 says, "Then he said, 'Do you know why I have come to you? Now I must return to fight against the Prince of Persia, and when I am gone forth, lo, the Prince of Greece shall come.'" These verses indicate that each nation may have a malevolent angel acting over it, but there are also angels of God at work, and here we see that Archangel Michael battles on behalf of the nation of Israel. Michael, one of the chief princes, whose name means "who is like Jehovah," is referred to as an archangel and leads an angelic army against the dragon and his angels, as described in Revelation chapter 12. He intervened to ensure that the celestial messenger reached me, Daniel, to deliver information about the realms of Persia and Greece, which are detailed in the subsequent chapter. Ultimately, I also received information about future events during the eschatological tribulation that Israel will face when the Antichrist arises. Clearly, Satan did not wish for this information to reach me and my people. Regarding the content of the message I was to receive, the angel clarified, "I have come to tell you what will happen to your people in the latter days, for the vision concerns these days." Initially, I understand that the prophecy, which will be further detailed in the following chapters, pertains to my people, Israel, and describes a period known as the last days. This term is frequently used in the Bible to refer to the future, often viewed from the prophet's perspective. In chapters 11 and 12 of Daniel, we see that this future time spans both the era of Antiochus Epiphanes and the end times, when the Antichrist will persecute the nation of Israel before being defeated by the coming of Christ. It is important to understand that although the Prince of Persia managed to delay the delivery of the message for 3 weeks, he could not prevent its delivery. This shows that despite the significant power of Satan and his followers, it is limited. It is also notable that although God could have resolved the situation immediately, he allowed the conflict to unfold among the angels. It is curious to observe how conflicts in the realm of men somehow reflect conflicts among angelic beings. Satan and his armies actively engaged in this conflict to try to thwart God's plans. This situation gives us a glimpse into the war that occurs in the heavenly realms between God's angels and the demons. Therefore, it was Satan's forces that caused the delay in the response to my prayer. The truth is that we could never think that this was the cause of the delay in the response to our prayers. And this makes me reflect on how, although Daniel's prayer might seem small, it had cosmic repercussions. Prayer always involves a spiritual battle. This passage reveals to me that there is a world of evil invisible to us, but it is in constant conflict to prevent God's will from being accomplished in the world of men. As a Christian, I realize that the power of prayer should not be seen just in the life of one person, but also in a global perspective. The end times call for God's saints to engage in prayers for the world and its authorities. When our prayers exceed our personal needs and reach a global scale, we are touching the sphere where principalities and powers reside. We need men and women around the world dedicated to prayer in the realm of spiritual warfare. As we can see, there are spiritual beings fighting against other spiritual beings. A world above us is always active against the visible world. This makes the heart of today's Christian wonder. What evil angel presides over the United States, Venezuela, Haiti, North Korea, India, China, the countries of the Middle East, Africa? The list is very long. There are countries where the gospel is forbidden, and this leads us to imagine the terrible spiritual struggle that occurs in these places. As I mentioned, we need men and women around the world dedicated to prayer in the realm of spiritual warfare. In Ephesians 6 verse 12, it is said, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places." Today we implore you to protect the world and its inhabitants with peace, warding off the destructive wave of terrorism, restoring friendship, and pouring into the hearts of your creatures the gift of trust and readiness to forgive. Holy Spirit Comforter, visit the families mourning the loss of their loved ones, innocent victims of violence and terrorism. Cover them with the mantle of your divine mercy, that they may find in you the strength and courage to continue being brothers and sisters to others, especially to strangers and immigrants, bearing witness to your love with their lives. Move the hearts of terrorists so that they recognize the evil of their actions and return to the path of peace and good, respecting the life and dignity of every human being, regardless of their religion, origin, or social status. Eternal God, compassionate Father, hear this prayer we raise to you amid the noise and despair of the world. We are filled with confidence in your infinite mercy. To all those who have lost loved ones because of wars, thank you for being part of our channel of wisdom. I send a warm greeting to all. God bless you greatly.